I'm married to Tommy. We have 4 adult children and I'm grandmother to 5 grandchildren. COVID-19 arrived on our shores in 2020 like a thief in the night. Lockdown to limit the spread of the deadly virus was a jolt, but it seemed the right thing to do to protect the most vulnerable in our society. The tiny virus brought us all to our knees. Fear was surfacing everywhere. My initial reaction was indeed fear. I immediately began to think about our family and their protection and safety. At the same time, they were concerned about us, their parents who were called to cocoon. All of us were particularly worried about our daughter, who is a nurse and a frontline worker. We were all sad for the grandchildren who had to suddenly abandon school and their little classmates. It was difficult to witness their confusion and their loss at not having interaction with their cousins and hugs from their grandparents. The enforced separation from family was challenging, but we were aware of families with children and grandchildren living abroad whose planned holidays and visits home were cancelled. At the same time, I was very aware of those in our community and in the wider world who did not have any support and were undoubtedly struggling. We initially thought that we'd be in lockdown for about 3 weeks. 3 months later, we are emerging from our cocoon, and we really appreciate the gift of family and friends who support us and love us. Although isolated physically, we felt supported and not really alone because everyone else was in the same boat. COVID-19 is a respiratory virus which affects humans, and there's much scientific evidence that planet Earth is having difficulty breathing also. We were being called to slow down, take time, and notice. We began all our days in lockdown with a meditation walk around the garden. A few deep breaths to centre us as we slowly walked one lap of the garden with the question, what do I hear now? Then another lap with the question, what do I see? Third time, what do I smell? Fourth time, what do I feel? Fifth time, is there someone I want to pray with or for? Sixth time, what am I grateful for? And final lap, where am I finding joy? This daily walk raised our awareness in so many ways. We chatted afterwards about the experience and what had affected us. There were unforgettable moments, like the time a butterfly led us all around the garden, or like the morning we noticed that foxes who were regular visitors were no longer around. The earth was also taking a breather and returning to health. The clear skies, the silence, the absence of background noise, and the bird song brought us back to ourselves. Nature was healing and grounding. What really struck me on our walks was the wonder of spring. We've been living in this house for 40 years, and we do appreciate spring each year in the garden. But this year, as we walked slowly and meditatively each day, I was completely overawed by the burgeoning of spring and the way each day brought new and amazing discoveries. I planted seeds, flowers and vegetables, and they became my babies, which I fed and watered and thoroughly delighted in. I discovered, along with many others I spoke to, how much we had missed out on in our busy lives over the years. When the world slowed down, you could see more clearly what our world could look like if we weren't so consumed with one's individual desires and wants. I see clearly now that there's been too much scrambling for more these times. The universe brought us, with the arrival of the virus, many questions about sustainability and our way of life in the first world. And these questions, as the poet David Whyte says, have no right to go away. A powerful image stays with me of a golf course, a playground for the privileged few, with carefully managed, watered, lush greens and fairways, alongside a refugee camp containing many thousands of people with hardly the very basics of life. Sometimes we fail to see the wood for the trees. A more reflective way of living brings clarity. We see that we in the first world have already too much, while half the world is starving. Most of the poorest people are victims of unjust systems, but also victims of our greed. We are all connected, all of us, and all of creation. We share the same DNA. Our origins are in the stars. Conscious of this, I see the arrival of the virus as a wake-up call. If it can happen once, it will undoubtedly happen again, and maybe worse. The arrival of the virus invites me to a whole new way of seeing things, a new way of relating and a new way of living, which includes my family, my friends, my faith companions, and the whole Earth community. What gives me hope is that I see that the universe has asked us to take a step back and see the damage we are doing to our common home, and is also asking each of us what we might do about it. Now there's a question.